Tonia walked like the ground should thank her. Every time she passed by, people turned their heads to look at her. She had smooth brown skin that glowed under the sun, long black hair that bounced with every step, and eyes sharp like a cat's. Her nails were always done, her clothes were expensive, and her shoes looked like they came straight from another country. Tonia was proud of her looks, and she had a reason to be. At 27, she had a high-paying job in a top real estate company, a handsome rich fiancé named David, and a big circle of friends who followed her like she was the sun. People on social media called her the girl with the perfect life, and she believed it. But behind all the shine, there was one truth Tonia hid well: her cousin, Kemi. Kemi had raised Tonia when her parents died in a car crash when she was just 10. Kemi was only 17 at the time, yet she gave up school to take care of her. They grew up like sisters, but now that Tonia had made it in life, she barely spoke of Kemi. In fact, she avoided her. Kemi was poor, still working as a cleaner in a small hospital, living in a one-room apartment on the edge of town. Tonia didn't like to be reminded of that part of her life. She felt it was dirty, small, and embarrassing. And so, she kept Kemi away, always finding excuses, always too busy. But Kemi still tried. She would text, call, or send small gifts. When Tonia got engaged, Kemi sent a long message filled with love and prayers. Tonia didn't reply. Instead, she laughed at the message with her friend Sharon. "Look at this," she said, waving her phone. "The cleaner thinks I need her blessings to marry David. Can you imagine?" They both laughed hard. Tonia even imitated Kemi's voice. That moment, just a minute of mockery, was where everything began to change. Started like a normal Monday. Tonia got ready for work, wearing her best gray suit and heels that clicked on the floor like music. She drove her Lexus through the busy Lagos traffic, waving her French-tipped nails at a security guard like she was royalty. But when she arrived at the office, something was wrong. People were whispering. Her boss, Mr. Africantales, called her into the boardroom. His face was tight. "Tonia," he said, "there's an issue. Client reported misconduct. We have to let you go while we investigate." Her ears rang. "Sir? There must be a mistake." "There's video footage," he said coldly. "And the client is one of our biggest investors." Tonia's heart dropped. She tried to explain. She begged. But it didn't work. She was escorted out of the building like a thief. Her co-workers avoided her eyes. Some even looked pleased. She drove home with tears running down her face, mascara smudged. Her phone buzzed nonstop, but she couldn't pick it up. David didn't call. Sharon didn't call. For the first time in years, Tonia felt like a nobody. That evening, she sat on the floor of her luxury apartment, staring at the walls. She wanted to call someone, anyone, but her contact list felt fake. Then she saw a text from Kemi. "Hope your day went well. Just wanted to say I'm proud of you. Love you always." Tonia rolled her eyes. "Proud of what?" she muttered bitterly. But deep down, a tiny pinch of guilt poked her chest. For the first time, Kemi's name didn't feel small. Felt warm. She didn't know that was just the beginning. Life was not done with her yet. The next morning, Tonia waited for David's call. She had sent him a message explaining what happened at work, hoping he'd understand. But her phone stayed silent. She couldn't take it anymore, so she dialed him. It rang once, then went straight to voicemail. Her heart skipped. She called again. This time it didn't ring at all. He had blocked her. "No, no, no," she whispered, pacing her living room in panic. She drove to David's office, hoping to meet him there. But the security guard stopped her. "Oga say make I no allow you enter," the man said with a small frown. "He talk say everything between you and M. Don end." Tonia's knees went weak. "What? Why?" "He say you get while away fit spoil him name," the guard said. "Make you go." Tonia stood in shock. Her perfect man, the man who once promised her forever, had dropped her like garbage. No warning.
No explanation.
Just silence. She drove back home like a ghost, face pale, fingers shaking. Her home felt colder now. Her ring, which once sparkled like victory, now looked like shame. At midnight, she sat on her bed with no lights on. She scrolled through old photos of David, of their trips, her birthday surprise, their matching outfits. Her lips trembled. How did everything scatter in just one day? She didn't sleep that night. Her mind kept spinning. What had she done to deserve this? But deep down, she knew the answer. She had laughed at the very person who helped her climb. And now the fall had started. 3 days passed. Tonia stayed indoors. Her friends had all gone quiet. Sharon posted a picture with another girl, calling her my new ride or die. The betrayal felt like a knife in Tonia's chest. She looked around her expensive apartment. The furniture, the gold-plated decor, the shoe collection. All of it felt useless. She hadn't eaten properly in days. Her phone battery died and she didn't bother to charge it. Then she heard a knock at the door. She dragged herself up, hair messy, eyes swollen. When she opened the door, she froze. Kemi stood there with a nylon bag in one hand and a soft smile on her face. "Tonia," she said gently, "I've been calling you. I got worried. So I came." Tonia didn't know what to say. She wanted to shut the door, but her body wouldn't move. "I brought rice and stew," Kemi said, holding out the bag. "You must be tired. Let me help you." Tonia stared at the food, then back at Kemi. After everything, after ignoring her, mocking her, cutting her off, Kemi was still here, still kind, still humble. Tonia's lips began to quiver. "Why are you here?" "Because I love you," Kemi said simply. Tonia broke down and started crying. Big, ugly sobs. Kemi walked in and held her tightly, like a mother would hold a lost child. And in that moment, for the first time in years, Tonia felt truly seen. Not for her beauty or success, but for her pain. That night, they ate together. And Tonia whispered through tears, "I'm sorry for how I treated you." But Kemi only smiled and said, "Let's focus on healing now." Tonia didn't know it yet, but this moment was the start of something even harder than falling. Learning to become whole again. Tonia woke up the next morning on her couch, wrapped in a wrapper Kemi had brought from home. It smelled like old detergent and onions, but somehow it felt safe. Kemi had cleaned her living room, washed the dishes, and even bathed her like a baby. She hadn't done that since they were girls, when Tonia cried from bad dreams. Kemi served her warm pap and akara. Tonia stared at the food with tears in her eyes. "I don't deserve this," she whispered. Kemi smiled and pulled up a stool. "Tonia, life is not about who deserves what. Sometimes, people just need kindness." After breakfast, Kemi said something that surprised her. "Come and sleep at my place tonight. I want to show you something." Tonia looked at her, confused. "Your house?" "Yes, just for one night."
Nos cham.
That evening, they took a kiki to Kemi's neighborhood. The streets were dusty, the houses old. The air smelled of fried plantain, smoke, and sweat. Tonia held her bag tightly, afraid someone might snatch it. Kemi's room was small, just one bed, one fan, and a plastic wardrobe. No air conditioning, no fridge, no fancy mirror. But it was neat and it was peaceful. "I sleep here," Kemi said proudly, "and I'm not ashamed." Tonia sat on the edge of the bed. The floor was concrete. The ceiling fan made a grinding noise. Yet there was a strange comfort in it all, no pretending, no masks. That night, Kemi told her stories, about how she struggled to pay rent, about nights she cried alone, and how she still prayed for Tonia's success every day. Tonia didn't speak much. She just listened. And before sleeping, she whispered, "You're richer than I ever was." Kemi laughed softly. "No, I just learned to be content." A week passed. Tonia had not heard from anyone in her old life. Her landlord called to say her rent was due. Her account balance was low. She applied to many companies, but no one replied. One evening, while trying to cook noodles, she suddenly felt dizzy. Her vision blurred, and her legs gave out beneath her. Kemi rushed her to a nearby clinic. The doctor checked her, ran some tests, and frowned. "You need to rest. Your blood pressure is high." Your body is weak. Tonia stayed overnight in the small clinic room. It smelled of methylated spirit and Dettol. She was given rice in a nylon plate and drugs wrapped in paper. For someone used to fine dining and scented hospitals, it felt like a nightmare. The next morning, the doctor returned with results. "There's more," he said. "Your stress levels are dangerous. You might have a hormonal issue. You need to go for scans." Tonia's hands trembled. How bad is it?" "You must take it seriously," he said. "You look strong outside, but inside, your body is crashing." Back at Kemi's house, she lay in bed like a child. Her body felt too heavy, her heart too tired. She cried for hours. "Why is this happening to me?" she whispered. Kemi sat beside her, stroking her hair. "Sometimes, God slows us down so we can see what really matters. I didn't even say thank you when you gave up school for me," Tonia said. "I just climbed and forgot you." Kemi smiled sadly. "I never did it for thanks. I did it because you were family." Tonia squeezed her hand. "I don't want to live the old life again. It was fake." And right then, a part of her heart began to break and rebuild. The next morning, Tonia insisted on following Kemi to the market. "I want to help," she said, even though her legs were still weak and her pride wounded. Kemi looked surprised but nodded. They walked through a crowded open market, sellers shouting prices, wheelbarrows moving between bodies, the smell of dried fish, fresh pepper, and roasted corn mixing in the air. Tonia wore simple clothes borrowed from Kemi, a faded Ankara top and slippers. She kept her face down, not wanting anyone to recognize her. But the real shock came when a woman selling onions shouted, On! Tonia! Tonia that used to drive Lexus? Is this really you?" Tonia froze. "Ah, life can change. Oh, I saw you on Instagram in Dubai last year. Now you day follow person by pepper." People started to stare. Tonia felt like she was shrinking. Kemi stepped forward quickly and shielded her. "Auntie, I beg mind your business." The woman hissed and turned back to her basket. Tonia couldn't hold the tears. She walked fast through the market until they reached a corner. She crouched beside a pole and sobbed. "I've never felt so useless," she whispered. "This is worse than being broke." Kemi held her hand. "This is life humbling you, and sometimes it's the best teacher." Tonia looked up at her cousin. "How do you survive this pain?" "I remember what matters," Kemi said. "And I keep going." Tonia knew right then, healing would not be easy, but it was necessary. That night, just as Tonia and Kemi were about to sleep, someone knocked on the door. Kemi opened it, and there stood Sharon. She wore designer clothes, gold earrings, and a face full of makeup. Her expression was half smile, half pity. "Tonia," she said in a sugary voice, "I heard what happened. I came to see if you're okay." Tonia sat up slowly, her voice flat. "You blocked me." "I was confused," Sharon said. "David told everyone you were acting unstable. He said you insulted his family. I didn't want to get involved." Tonia's chest burned. "So you chose him?" "I didn't choose anyone," Sharon said. Then she stepped closer. "Actually, I came to ask for something." Kemi raised a brow. "Ask for what?" Sharon smiled. "There's this new deal going around, quick money stuff. Some of us girls are investing. I know Tonia still has some designer bags. Shoes. You can sell them, join us, and bounce back." Tonia's jaw clenched. "You came here to help me fall deeper?" Sharon chuckled. "I came to offer a way up. But if you'd rather stay here and rot." Kemi stepped forward. "Leave." Sharon blinked. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," Kemi said firmly. "Leave. Now." Sharon scoffed, flipped her braids, and walked out with a smirk. Tonia's eyes filled with fresh tears. "I thought she was my friend." "She never was," Kemi said. "She loved your lifestyle, not your soul." Tonia sat back down, her heart heavy but her mind slowly waking up. Every mask was falling, every truth exposing itself. And one thing was becoming clear. This pain wasn't here to destroy her. It was here to clean her. The next morning, Tonia sat quietly by the window in Kemi's small room. The morning breeze carried the sounds of birds, far-off generators, and children playing in the compound. Her mind was heavy. "I want to go back," she said softly. Kemi looked up. "Back where?" "To our old house in Ibadan, where we grew up after my parents died. I want to remember who I used to be, before all the pride." Kemi hesitated but nodded. "Let's go." They took a long road trip on a dusty bus filled with passengers carrying yams, goats, and sweaty plastic bags. Tonia wore a plain t-shirt and tied her braids in a scarf. No one looked at her twice. She was invisible now, and it felt strange yet peaceful. When they reached the small compound where they once lived, the house was still there. Old, cracked, but standing. Tonia stood in front of it, her eyes wide. "We used to sleep on the floor here," she whispered. "You used to sing to me when I had nightmares." They walked inside. An old woman now lived there. She welcomed them kindly and allowed them to look around. Tonia touched the wall where she had once drawn her name in charcoal as a child. "This was my real beginning," she said, choking on tears. "Not the parties, not the pictures. Here." They sat outside under the same mango tree they used to play under. Kemi plucked a fruit and gave it to her. Tonia smiled weakly. "I forgot the taste of real things." That day, they stayed in the village till evening. Tonia didn't speak much on the way home, but something inside her had shifted, quietly, but deeply. Back in Lagos, just 2 days after the trip, Tonia collapsed again. This time it was worse. She had been washing plates when her vision went black, and she hit the ground hard. Kemi screamed and ran to her, shaking her shoulders. "Tonia! Tonia!" Neighbors helped carry her to the nearest private clinic. The doctor examined her and said, "She's not just weak. Her organs are tired. Her system is overloaded." Tonia was admitted for 3 days. On the second day, a test came back showing early signs of kidney trouble. The doctor warned, "If you don't reduce stress, eat better, and rest deeply, it might lead to dialysis." Tonia lay in the bed, for in her arm, staring at the ceiling. She didn't cry this time. She was too numb. Kemi sat beside her, reading psalms from a small, tattered Bible. "You're going to be fine," she whispered. "You just have to fight." But Tonia whispered back, "I don't know how." Kemi leaned forward. "Let's start small. Breathe. Forgive yourself. Ask for help. Rest." Tonia turned her face to the wall. That night, she dreamed of her mother. In the dream, her mother said, "You are not made of glass. You're clay. Let the cracks remake you." She woke up with tears on her face and a choice in her heart. It was time to rebuild. Not the perfect life, but a real one. Tonia was discharged from the clinic, but the bills were heavy. She had no health insurance. Her last savings were gone. Kemi had to borrow money from her friend who sold secondhand clothes just to cover the balance. The doctor said she still needed medication and regular checkups. Tonia sat at the edge of the hospital bed, looking down at the bill in her hand. How did I go from champagne and silk sheets to this? Kemi didn't respond. She was too busy collecting change from a Kiki rider outside. Later that day, back in Kemi's room, Tonia made a difficult decision. She picked up her phone and called an old contact who once offered her a business partnership, but she had rudely ignored him back then. "Hello, sir. It's Tonia." Silence. Then a low voice replied, "Ah, the great Tonia finally remembers small people." She swallowed her pride. "Sir, I'm not here to pretend.
I'm struggling.
Please, if there's any job, even part-time." He chuckled. "You used to laugh at people like that." "I know," she said softly. "That's why I'm not laughing anymore." He didn't offer help immediately, but he promised to think about it. She hung up and burst into tears. That evening, Kemi brought food. "It's okra soup and samo," she said cheerfully. Tonia stared at the steaming plate. Her stomach rumbled, but her heart hurt. "Kemi, do you hate me?" Kemi paused. "Why would I hate you?" "Because I became proud and treated you like dirt." Kemi looked at her with gentle eyes. Tonia, I don't need your guilt. I just want you to heal. We all fall. The question is, will you rise wiser? Tonia nodded. Slowly. 2 days later, as Kemi swept the compound outside, someone knocked on the gate. Tonia, still weak but curious, walked slowly to the window. Her heart stopped when she saw who it was. It was David, her ex-fiancé, standing there in his sharp native attire holding a phone and car keys. Kemi opened the gate cautiously. "Good afternoon," he said, flashing a fake smile. "I came to check on Tonia." Kemi hesitated. "After how long? I heard she was sick. I want to help." Kemi didn't trust him, but she stepped aside. Tonia was sitting inside, legs crossed, a scarf on her head. When he walked in, she looked up, no tears, no smile, just quiet strength. "Wow," David said, scanning the room. "You really changed." "You look the same," she said flatly. "I feel bad about how things ended," he began. "But you know, I had pressure. My family. Save it." She cut him off. "You left without a word. You blocked me. I panicked. You humiliated me," she added. "And you didn't care." David looked awkward. "I came with some money. I thought maybe it could help." She looked at the brown envelope in his hand. Then she shook her head. "Keep it." "What? I don't want money from someone who threw me away like trash," she said firmly. "I don't need charity. I need peace." He blinked, clearly not expecting that. "You can go," she added. He turned, confused and embarrassed. As he walked out, Kemi gave him one last cold stare before closing the gate behind him. Inside, Tonia leaned back against the wall. Her chest was beating fast, but her eyes were dry. Kemi came back in slowly and sat beside her. "You okay?" Tonia smiled faintly. "For the first time in a long time, I think I am." 2 weeks had passed since David's visit. Tonia was healing slowly. Her skin had lost its glow. Her hair was no longer perfect, but her eyes? They were changing. They held depth now. Pain had carved out something powerful in her. She helped Kemi at home, fetched water, washed clothes, and even sold sachet water outside to keep her hands busy. The neighbors began to whisper, "Is that not the same girl who used to shine like diamond?" But Tonia didn't care anymore. One morning, as she cleaned the compound, her phone rang. A known number. She picked up. "Hello? Tonia? It's Uncle Felix." Tonia's breath caught. Uncle Felix was her father's younger brother, the one who left the country after her parents died. He hadn't called her in over 10 years. "Uncle?" she said quietly. "Yes," he replied. "I was told. You're going through something." She hesitated. "Yes, sir." There was a long pause. Then his voice softened. "Tonia, I failed you. I should have checked in all these years. But listen carefully. There's something I never told you." Tonia leaned against the wall. "Your father left a small property in your name. It's not in the city. It's in a quiet town. But it's yours. I kept it hidden until you were ready. And I think you're ready now." Tonia didn't speak. Her lips parted slightly. "Send me a message. I'll send you the documents." He ended the call. Kemi rushed outside. "What happened?" Tonia looked at her, stunned. "My father left me something. A land. A house." Kemi blinked. "Are you serious?" Tonia nodded slowly. "And for once, I don't want to rush into building malls or showing off. I just want to breathe." That evening, Tonia and Kemi sat on the floor, eating yam and garden egg sauce. A candle flickered in the center of the room. Tonia placed the documents on the floor. "Kemi, come with me." "Where?" "To the land. Let's move. Start fresh. I don't want to go back to fake friends. Or to Lagos drama. I want peace. I want purpose." Kemi looked nervous. "Me? Move with you?" Tonia nodded. "You gave up your whole life for me. Now let me build something with you. Not for social media. Not for men. Just us. Something honest." Kemi's lips trembled. "Tonia, are you sure?" Tonia smiled. "Yes, but I need your help. I can't do it alone." Maybe we start a food business. Or a sewing school. Anything small. As long as it's real. Kemi wiped her eyes. You've changed. Tonia looked away.
No.
I'm just finally seeing clearly. They packed what little they had. Some clothes, one pot, a small mattress, and a dream. As they boarded the bus the next morning, Kemi held Tonia's hand tightly.
No makeup. No designer bag. No jewelry.
Just two women, bound by pain and love, heading toward a quiet future. Tonia looked out the window, watching Lagos disappear behind them. She whispered to herself, "This time, I'm not chasing perfection. I'm building peace." And for the first time in forever, she smiled. Not for the camera, but for her soul. The journey to the small town was long and quiet. Kemi leaned her head against the window, while Tonia sat still, her mind racing. She had no idea what the property looked like. Maybe it was broken. Maybe it was gone. But in her heart, she knew whatever she found, she would make it her new beginning. When they arrived, an old man met them at the bus stop. "You must be Chief Bamadiel's daughter," he said kindly. "I was his caretaker before he passed. He told me one day you'd come." They followed him through narrow paths until they reached a small fenced house surrounded by bush. The gate creaked as he opened it. The house had a rusty roof, broken windows, and paint peeling like dead skin. But it stood. Tonia stepped forward slowly. She placed her hand on the wall. This was my father's?" "Yes," the old man said. "He built it when your mother was pregnant. Said it would be your inheritance." Inside, the house was dusty, filled with cobwebs and silence. But the air didn't feel heavy. It felt sacred. Kemi walked through the rooms, smiling softly. "This place, it has good bones." Tonia turned to her. "Let's fix it. Together." They spent the next few days cleaning. They scrubbed walls, swept sand, burned trash, and cooked outside with firewood. Neighbors watched curiously, some offering to help. One evening, as the sun melted over the trees, Tonia stood barefoot in the compound. Her hands were dirty, her hair wrapped in an old scarf, but she smiled wide. "This is the most honest sweat I've ever had," she said. And Kemi replied, "It suits you." Weeks passed. The house began to breathe again. The walls were repainted, the doors repaired, the roof patched. Tonia and Kemi opened a small food stand in front of the house, selling akara, pap, and mwamwa in the morning. It wasn't much, but every coin felt earned. One rainy afternoon, while they were frying plantain, a young woman came to the gate. She wore a simple dress and sandals, her eyes sharp and careful. "Are you Tonia?" she asked. "Yes," Tonia replied, drying her hands. The girl stepped forward.
I'm Ada. I'm
David's fiancée. Tonia blinked. "Excuse me?" Ada looked uncomfortable. "He told me everything. About you. How you lost everything. And now he wants you back. But I need to know. Are you planning to take him from me?" Kemi stood up quickly. "What kind of nonsense?" Tonia held out her hand. "It's okay." She turned to Ada and said calmly, "You don't need to worry. I buried that chapter long ago. Tell David I wish him peace. But I'm not his past, and I'm not his future." Ada looked stunned. She stared at Tonia, like she didn't expect someone so calm, so unshaken. Then, slowly, she nodded and left. Kemi turned to Tonia wide-eyed. "You handled that like a queen." Tonia smiled. "Because for the first time I feel like one." That night, they sat outside with bowls of pepper soup and laughter between them. The stars blinked above. There was no money, no spotlight, but there was peace. And in that peace, Tonia finally felt whole. Tonia's business was growing slowly. Villagers began lining up in the mornings for her mwamwa and fried yam. She and Kemi added new items every week: kunu, zobo, suya wraps. The money wasn't much, but it was consistent. Then one day, as Tonia counted change, a black SUV parked beside their stall. A man stepped out in a sleek suit and dark sunglasses. "Tonia Bamadiel?" he asked. She stood up slowly. "Yes." He handed her a card. Mr. Franklin, I represent a real estate firm in Abuja. We saw your name on a property document connected to this house. The land value here has risen. We're interested in buying it. Tonia stared at the card. She had heard this kind of offer before, during her Lagos days. Fast money, fancy handshakes. But now it felt different. This wasn't just land. It was her story, her healing. How much? Kemi asked, standing beside her protectively. 10 million naira, the man said. Tonia's mouth opened slightly. Her whole body went cold. That was more than anything she'd ever held. The man smiled. Think about it. You could return to Lagos. Start fresh. Live the life you used to live. Tonia looked down at her hands, still stained with palm oil from morning prep. Her nails weren't polished anymore, but they were strong, real. She glanced at Kemi, then at their small stall, then back at the man. I'll think about it, she said. But in her heart, a battle had already begun. That night, Tonia couldn't sleep. She lay on her mat staring at the ceiling. 10 million. That could fix her health. Build a proper shop. Get her old car back. Buy back her comfort. Kemi rolled over. You're not sleeping. No, Tonia whispered. I'm thinking. Kemi sat up slowly. About the land? Yes, about what it means. And what it's worth. Kemi stayed silent for a while. Then she said, Tonia, if this land was just mud and trees, you would have sold it already. But it's more than that. Tonia turned to her. What do you mean? You cried on this soil. You rebuilt here. You learned to breathe again. That kind of land isn't just land. It's healing. Tonia nodded slowly. The next morning, she called Mr. Franklin. Thank you for the offer, she said. And, he asked, I'm not selling. There was a pause. Are you sure? We can go higher. I'm sure. She hung up before she could change her mind. Later that day, Kemi brought out a small paint bucket. Let's repaint the signboard. This business isn't temporary anymore. Tonia dipped the brush into red paint and wrote in bold letters, Real flavor, true life. Moi moi and more. Kemi smiled. Now it feels official. And as customers returned with hungry smiles, Tonia stood taller. She had walked away from millions and stood firm in purpose. It was a victory no bank could count. Business was picking up. Word spread about real flavor across the town. People said Kemi's moi had healing powers, and Tonia's pepper sauce could wake the dead. It was still small, but every day they sold out by noon. They began saving for a freezer and bigger pots. One afternoon, a motorcycle delivery man stopped by their stall. Are you Miss Tonia Bamidil? He asked. Yes, she said, confused. He handed her a brown envelope, signed a paper, and left. Kemi came over, wiping her hands. What is it? Tonia opened the envelope. Inside was a letter from David's mother. Dear Tonia, I heard about what happened to you. I know you may not believe it, but I never hated you. I was just trying to protect my son's image. I now realize I was wrong. He's lost and I blame myself.
I'm dying, Tonia.
And before I go, I want to ask for forgiveness. I also want to tell you something important. David left something in your name before the breakup. A savings account. He forgot to close it. It holds 5 million Nigerian nairas. If you need it, take it. You earned it more than anyone ever did.
I'm sorry. Mama David.
Tonia stared at the letter in silence. Kemi read over her shoulder. 5 million. Kemi whispered. Are you going to claim it? Tonia folded the letter slowly. I don't know. That night, she sat outside alone. The stars blinked softly in the sky, but her chest was heavy. She had sworn she was done with her past. But could she walk away from help when it finally came? She closed her eyes and whispered, God, help me not to go backward, even when the road looks sweet. The next morning, Tonia visited the bank with Kemi by her side. She wore a plain white blouse, slippers, and no makeup. At the counter, the banker scanned her ID and checked the system. Yes, ma'am. There's an account in your name. 5,087,200 Nigerian nairas. It hasn't been touched. Tonia stood quietly. The banker smiled. Do you want to withdraw it? She looked at Kemi. Kemi nodded slowly. It's your choice. Tonia sighed.
No.
Not withdraw. I want to move it. To where? To an orphanage fund. I want to donate it in memory of someone who helped me when I had nothing. The banker looked surprised but nodded. When they left the bank, Kemi stopped her on the sidewalk. You gave up all that money. Again. Why? Tonia smiled. Because this time I want to be the giver, not the beggar. I want to be the reason someone else feels seen. Kemi hugged her tightly. I'm proud of you. They returned to their food stall. The pots were bubbling, the customers already queuing. One woman called out, Auntie Tonia, add extra sauce for me, oh. Tonia laughed and shouted back, if I add extra, you'll wash the pots. Everyone laughed. As the sun rose above their little shop, Kemi and Tonia stood side by side. They were no longer looking for a perfect life. They were building a meaningful one. It was a quiet morning. The sky was soft with clouds, the breeze gentle. Tonia was frying akara while Kemi went to fetch firewood from the backyard. Suddenly, Tonia heard a loud thud, followed by silence. Kemi? She called. No answer. She rushed toward the back of the house and found Kemi collapsed on the ground, one hand gripping her side, her eyes wide with panic. Kemi! Tonia screamed, falling to her knees. Neighbors came running. Kiki was called. They rushed her to the same small clinic they had been to months ago. The doctor examined her quickly and shook his head. She's dehydrated. Her blood sugar is dangerously low, and there's signs of an ulcer that has worsened. Tonia held her hand tightly. Please don't die. I need you. I'm not strong without you. Kemi whispered. You are strong. But you just don't know it yet. She slipped into unconsciousness. Tonia didn't leave her side. For 2 days, she slept on a plastic chair, barely eating. She used their entire savings to pay for injections, drips, and medications. The business stall stayed closed. When the doctor returned with an update, he said, she needs a proper hospital, or surgery may be required. Tonia broke down. We don't have anything left. The doctor looked at her sadly. Then you'll need a miracle. Tonia went outside, fell to her knees in the dirt, and cried like a child. She whispered, take everything. Take the house. Take everything I own. Just don't take her. That evening, as Tonia sat beside Kemi's bed with empty pockets and a breaking heart, a man in a wheelchair was rolled into the ward. He looked at her closely and said, Are you Tonia Bamadil? She turned slowly, surprised. Yes. He smiled faintly. I remember you. You came to my father's real estate company 6 years ago. You were sharp, proud, but brilliant. Tonia lowered her eyes. That was another version of me. He nodded. I remember you insulted my father's secretary and stormed out when we didn't offer you the senior manager role. Her cheeks burned. But now, he continued, I see something different in your eyes, something honest. Tonia looked at him. Life did that. He nodded. Good. Then maybe it's time it rewarded you back. He called his assistant, whispered something, and turned to her. I just sent 800,000 Nigerian nairas to the clinic. It should cover everything for your friend. Tonia's lips parted. Wait, what? Don't thank me yet, he said. Just promise me. Never go back to the girl who believed only money made her valuable. Tears streamed down Tonia's face. I won't. She turned back to Kemi, kissed her forehead, and whispered, You're going to live. And this time she believed it. Outside, the sky cracked open with gentle rain, and with it came healing. It was the 3rd day in the hospital. The drip was nearly empty, the ceiling fan squeaked, and Tonia had not moved from the same chair beside Kemi's bed. She was singing softly when Kemi's fingers twitched. Tonia froze. Kemi? She whispered, standing slowly. Kemi? Can you hear me? Kemi's eyes opened slowly, unfocused, then blinked once, twice, and locked on Tonia. Why are you crying? She asked in a raspy voice. Tonia burst into tears, falling to her knees beside the bed. You scared me. I thought I lost you. You can't lose me, Kemi whispered weakly. God knows. You still need my pepper soup. They both laughed softly, painfully, but with relief. The nurse walked in and smiled. She's stable now. Your friend has a strong spirit. Tonia turned and nodded. Yes, stronger than anyone I know. That evening, they moved her to a recovery ward. Tonia held Kemi's hand and read to her, fed her gently, and even washed her clothes at the tap outside. For days, she stayed by her side. When Kemi finally sat up and ate solid food again, she turned to Tonia and said, Why are you still here? You've given up everything for me. Tonia smiled.
No.
I gave up everything for a fake life. But what I gave you was real. Kemi returned home 2 weeks later. The villagers came with small gifts, mangoes, gari, eggs. Even the old woman who once laughed at Tonia in the market came with a live chicken. You're not just businesswomen now, she said. You're family. Tonia looked around at the dusty compound, the firewood kitchen, the small shop they had closed for weeks. But instead of sadness, her heart filled with vision. She turned to Kemi. We're going to build something here. Kemi raised her brow. Another food stall? No, Tonia said. A food school. We'll teach girls how to cook, sell, manage, survive. Kemi's eyes widened. We'll call it Kemi's Table, Tonia said. Because you've been feeding souls your whole life. Kemi covered her mouth with her hand. Tears slid down. But how? The man who paid your bills? He left a note, Tonia said, pulling a crumpled paper from her pocket. He owns a charity. He wants to sponsor any honest idea I bring to life. We have one. Kemi blinked fast, wiping her eyes. Tonia. Tonia held her hand. You saved me. Let me help save others. They stood together in the red dust, wind brushing their faces, chickens clucking in the background. No city lights, no fancy music. Just 2 women, standing tall in the truth of their scars, ready to build something the world couldn't tear down. 1 year later, the compound had changed. The old dusty house was now painted soft yellow, with flower pots by the door and benches under the mango tree. The food stall was gone. In its place stood a modest building with a handmade wooden sign that read, Kemi's Table, where every girl deserves a second chance. Inside, 10 young women stirred pots, peeled yams, measured spices, and learned not just how to cook, but how to survive. They came from hard places, single mothers, school dropouts, orphaned girls. But here they were safe. They were seen. Tonia stood at the front of the class, apron on, her hands covered in flour. She spoke with confidence, but not arrogance. Her eyes had depth now. Her voice carried warmth. Don't rush the stew, she told one girl. Let it speak for itself. Just like your journey. Kemi walked in carrying a tray of chin-chin. Her cheeks were rounder now, her health restored. The girls ran to hug her. Auntie Kemi, they shouted. She smiled and handed out snacks. Who passed yesterday's test? Hands shot up. That afternoon, Tonia and Kemi sat outside watching the girls sweep the floor and laugh together. Tonia turned to her. Remember the day I mocked your voice? Said you sounded too local? Kemi smiled softly. I remember. I was lost. Blind. And now? Kemi asked. Tonia looked around. The mango tree, the students, the scent of jollof in the air. Now I see everything clearly. She pulled out an old photo from her purse. One of her in full makeup, standing beside her Lexus, holding a champagne glass. Kemi chuckled. You used to think that was the top. Tonia shook her head. That was the lie. This is the top. She tossed the photo into a small fire they used for cooking. The flames ate the glossy image and turned it to ash. I finally understand the price of a perfect life, she whispered. Kemi looked at her. Tonia smiled. It's not money, not beauty, not applause. It's truth, gratitude, and a soul that never forgets who held it when it was falling. They sat together as the sun began to set behind the house they rebuilt with love and grit. The girls inside sang while they worked. Laughter echoed into the evening air. And somewhere deep in her heart, Tonia knew. She had paid the price. But what she gained was priceless.